Do you consider yourself a bigger fan than your friends? Do you show up early to the show hoping for the chance to meet your favorite artist? Well, there's this new fan ranking app called JAMM Nation where you can prove to the world you're as big of a fan as you say you are. Just download the app, link your streaming service, and then your streams will automatically populate for each artist you listen to, ranking you on their fans list and even giving you early and exclusive access to things like merch, tickets, and more. That's JAMM Nation. Earn your way to the front row with JAMM Nation today.
Let's go.
Welcome into the podcast. This episode is Mason Lively. Mason, I'm intrigued. I always have been with your music. I've kept up with you because I know where you're from, Inez, Texas.
Thank you. Yeah, not a lot of people are very aware of that area, especially the town Inez. I have to tell people Victoria, and half the people don't even know, where that's at.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've passed through it many, many times because I went over to old Kicks 108 day in and day out when I was working in radio for a while. Not only that, but it's just, and the good school district. You had such a good school district there, I'm sure, growing up.
Yes, Industrial High School. Yep.
Yes, yes.
That was a good school to get into. Small. Everybody, my wife was homeschooled, so she, like, when she'd go to my brother's graduations and everything, my younger brothers, even though she was homeschooled, she still went to school with more kids than I did. So she's there at the little high
Yes.
school went to, and she's like, "You basically were homeschooled," So,
I know.
like, yeah, I guess so.
And that's a cool thing because those are bonds that will never go away ever.
Oh yeah.
Trust me, I know, coming from a small school. So when did you find your love for music, and how did you start progressing? I know you were young when you started developing your skills.
Yeah, so I picked up a guitar around the age of 14. Growing up out there, it's kind of it's pretty natural to obviously hear country music. Kicks 108 was literally on everywhere in Victoria. So yeah, I'm very familiar with George Strait at the top of the hour and all that stuff. Some of my
Oh yes.
first time you notice music as a kid is just what's playing everywhere you go with your parents or whatever, on the radio. And that radio station was very popular there. And then I would always notice, like, going to my grandparents' house, it was really cool. I got intrigued by older music at a young age, especially, even kind of suffered from it around the time when you're changing as a kid, like 12, 13, 14, and everybody's trying to fit in, everybody's trying to be like other kids, and I would always be like, kind of like secretly almost like, I really like this older stuff. I like going to my grandpa's house and listening to his Willie Nelson or Ray Price records. I like going to my grandma's house. My grandparents were divorced, and she had that kind of stuff too, but she also had like Ray Charles and Otis Redding and stuff like that, and a little bit of that soul aspect to it, and like just Michael Jackson and the Eagles. So she had a very wide taste in music, and so that's some of my earliest memories of really falling in love with music are those guys. And then my parents, my dad's originally from the Austin area, even though we grew up in Victoria. So his family is all into the 70s, just Austin explosion of Willie and Sleep at the Wheel and all the guys that Jerry Jeff Walker, all the guys that eventually led to like the Texas country thing. So I got exposed to like Pat Green and Robert Earl Keen through them and stuff like that. And I just fell in love with it. I fell in love with the history of it. I fell in love with the fact that it was so close to home, and just those Texas artists really resonated with me. And I can't tell you how many times, even as a 12-year-old, begging my dad to play the Live Number 2 Robert Earl Keen CD again, in the cab of the truck. So I've always been in tune with music, and I just naturally wanted to play guitar at 14 and started writing songs not long after that.
So 2018, you put out your debut album, then you released another album in 2021. And interestingly enough, that's kind of when Wade Bowen kind of entered into your career. And I know he co-produced on that. And I know that he's worked along the way with some songwriting with Something About a Southern Girl, him and Drew Kennedy. So you really started really rooting, like, in just within a few years of releasing your debut album.
Yes, ma'am. I got super lucky and blessed with Wade, just kind of noticing somebody, almost like noticing an artist that was trying to come into his own around that time. I mean, 2018 put out the record, first album, Stronger Ties. Had no idea what I was doing. but songs like Heavy Toll and Early Grave off of it were really kind of catching a fire for somebody's first debut record, and I got on with an agency that put me on opening for shows like with guys like Wade and Randy, which was awesome.
Hmm.
And then Wade, I was talking to him on the bus one evening, and after a show that I'd opened for him, and I was telling him, I don't really know what to do for the next record. I'm starting some songs, I've written some songs for it and stuff like that. And he just kept harping about, well, what you need is a good producer, and that was always his advice, and it's true, having a good producer in the studio is everything. And after about the third show, I opened for him, and him kind of giving me that same advice. So, you found a producer yet? I was like, dude, do you want to do it? Sounds like you just like, because at the same time he would sneak in like, I've been thinking about getting into it myself, or doing more of that kind of stuff. And one thing led to another, and he ended up being the producer along with Justin Pollard, who had produced like Wave on Wave for Pat Green and stuff like that. Um, they produced my second record, and Wade withdrew, co-wrote Something About a Southern Girl with me. And yeah, that was a crazy opportunity to go from like not knowing what I was doing at all to being surrounded by just these professionals and figuring out how to make a record with guys like that. So that was a cool experience for sure.
Okay, well, let's talk about the new and Burn the Ground, and
Yeah.
kind of the backstory on that, and the production, and some of the backstory on it, and the work that went into it. How long it took you to get into the studio? How long were you in the studio?
It took a little bit. I was trying to kind of, well, I was dancing with the with playing the game of like being up in Nashville a lot. I was up in town a whole bunch, trying to. I guess I didn't really know what I was doing. That was probably part of the problem. But I was talking to people, in labels and publishing companies, and I kind of wanted to go that route. But the more and more I flirted with the idea of being on big deals and stuff like that, the more things kind of drug out to where I was like, this is going to take forever to do anything. Put out some singles, which I love, like Sound of Rain and Hold On. And I recorded those up in Nashville. And I got to a point where I was like, I just want to go back to Texas and really just make a record myself again. It's funny how like I went from not knowing what I was doing on that first record to being around pros on the second record to wanting to go back to kind of not knowing what I was doing and doing it kind of on my own for this Burn the Ground. So that's just kind of where it went. And I'm like, I want to do it in Austin again. I want to do it with somebody that really gets where I'm coming from as far as the sound that I want off the record. I kind of don't want a lot of outside influence on this next project. I just want to pick songwriters that I love to write with, write songs that I know are good and that I love, just stuff that I would love to hear, honestly. And I want to go in with a producer that understands that and knows that, hey, we're here to make a good record, and that's it. Not sound like this or do that or try and get on this chart or this label or whatever. So we did that, and I couldn't be more just happy with the way that Burn the Ground turned out, and I was really excited to put the record out. It took a little while to get it out there, but we worked really hard to spread the word, and along with that, we did our album release show at Antone's here in Austin, the iconic
Yes.
Antone's. We didn't really know what to expect, but we pushed it hard, and yeah, it ended up selling out Antone's. This was just this past Friday, so still a little bit on cloud nine for that. The record came out and the Antone's album release show happened the same day, and it was incredible, and it was a great first weekend of let's go. This album's gonna. We've got a good feeling about the record, and yeah, I'm just super proud of it.
Have you ever wondered how artists like Treaty Oak Revival, Red Clay Strays, and Aaron Watson maintain the high quality and high demand for their merchandise? Lonestar Promo is the answer. Created in Texas to serve Texas artists, and they're currently offering 15% off on all merch orders from musicians. Visit chlonestarpromo.com to get started and tell them Texas Toast sent you.
I was reading the other day that it takes at least $1 million to break an artist. That's a ton of change, and it can feel overwhelming. But with social media leveling the playing field, you just need an effective strategy to release your music. Check out Release Rocket to ensure your single does not die after release day. You've already put time, effort, and tons of money into writing and recording your album. Let the guys at Release Rocket keep your new release alive.
Well, I do want to go through some of the tracks and kind of like do so the audience can get familiar before they go to it and start listening. Let's talk about the title cut, "Burn the Ground," and if you don't mind, just for the audience to listen, just to I've got to I was so impressed with so many of the tracks with your writing, and I know you had some great co-writers on some of these, Josh Greider, a couple of others I didn't write down, but I always
For
look at
sure.
that. I'm the songwriting person. But
I
"Burn
love
the
that.
Ground," they've been digging in the dirt, but they won't bury me. I'll burn the ground beneath me if I have to. Set every bridge I've crossed up in flames. I mean, it's just like, and like every single track you have on this album, it's like I'm enamored. Tell me about "Burn the Ground" and just the backstory on that one.
Thank you. That I really appreciate that, and it's always a pleasure to talk to people that really pay attention to the lyrics. That
Mm-hmm.
one definitely came from a more exaggerated place of where I wanted to go with this record, and I was definitely not that angry about my trajectory, my career, but it was just kind of a little bit of a something that I wanted to get off my chest, and I sat down and wrote that tune with a buddy of mine, Ben Danaher, who's a great songwriter. I wrote "Love Ain't Done a Damn Thing" with him as well. So every time me and Ben get together, something great comes out. And he said something about, I think he was talking about Sturgill. He was like, literally, this is in conversation at the right. We had no idea what we were going to write about. Um, he was like, "Man, that's cool how you want to kind of do something different with this record. Just kind of reset your sound, refresh." We were talking. He said, "Yeah, Sturgill's like that when he goes in to make a record. He'll burn the ground beneath him to start over and kind of revamp his sound or something like that." It's like that's kind of cool. It's like,
Hmm. Yes.
and I had that lick on the guitar. That's how a lot of my songs start. I come up with something that just sounds cool on the guitar, and I'm like, this could be something cool to it. So I started playing that, and boom, we wrote the song in an hour. And it's like, I love this right here. So I loved that tune going into the studio, and I was like, this is the theme of the record. This is a great title track. This is a great just like
Hmm.
introduction into the record. Yeah, so thanks to Ben for coming up with such a cool idea, and yeah, we rolled with it, and it's a fun one to do live too.
I was thinking the same thing. I was hoping you were going to bring that up because in the back of my mind, that was top of mind. I thought, oh, I can just only imagine hearing this live. Yes.
Yeah, it's one of
And
those
then
builders for sure.
yes, exactly. And then you got a good pick me up with my Rolling Stone, a really upbeat. You're the steady to my every which way in. I mean, such a cute song. Love that one. And then one of my favorites actually was Southern Comfort that you co-wrote with Josh Greider.
Right, that's the oldest song on the record. I wrote that song with Josh, I think, before we did the second record. It just didn't make it. It just didn't make the second record. I really don't know why. I always loved the song.
Hmm.
Um, and so going into this record, I was like, this is still a great song. It's just a great groove. It's fun. Um, and I texted Josh. He said, "Hey, we're recording Southern Comfort." And he was like, "Let's go." And
Nice.
it just came out exactly how we wanted it in the studio. Um, and yeah, I love that record too. Another fun one to play live for sure.
Yes. And then the one that's going to get everyone's attention from the very beginning, "The Sin's Coming On," "Still Loves Me in the Morning."
Yeah.
Good job on that one. I think a lot of people are going to really enjoy that one.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, that one I wrote with Ben Chapman in Nashville. Ben's kind of like a student of Brent Cobb and writers like that just love to get a little loose, a little funky when writing a country song. And I vibe with that really well. And um, I can't remember exactly where that idea came from, but I think just I think I had something written down like I'm praying my woman still loves me in the morning, and we just kind of rolled with that, and you're picking all the ones that I look forward to playing live in the set list, so
Yes.
that's cool. That's
And the bacon
again,
and the bacon on the griddle and the coffee. And I mean, it's just like just a perfect little package. I love that one.
thank
They're
you
all good. And I guess, I could go on and on about those, but we do have some other stuff I do want to cover. So we did talk about you have an album release party. I looked at your schedule. You've got some really cool shows with some really cool people.
for sure. Yeah, we've really been fortunate to pick up some awesome shows coming up with artists that I love. me and John Bauman are doing a show at Flora's Country Store coming up. It's going to be
Saw
great.
that. I saw that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
love it.
John's awesome, and got an opener for Wyatt Flores coming up in Kansas, so that'll be cool. Um, Jason Boland and the Stragglers opening up there, and then we've got some shows on our own that we're doing at like Do Do and the Woodlands and
Hmm.
Love and War and Plano, Dallas area. Just fun venues that I like to do, and yeah, looking forward to getting the word out about this record.
That's exciting. So home life, I know that you're a dad, you're a husband, and how do you tell a bit about the background and the family side of Mason?
Yes, ma'am. I got married in 2021, right after the second record came out.
Mhm.
And yeah, husband, dad, first and foremost, that's taken the front of my life. And it's been a real blessing. And it's helped me artistically kind of not only just figure out as who I am as an artist, but just as a person in general. Nothing's going to do it more than that, than, being, I guess, the head of a family and having responsibility other than what you're doing and everything like that. And I think the two really help each other out, and it can be difficult at times, as anybody will tell you. But at the end of the day, it drives each component of being husband, father, and being an artist, drives each to be better, and that's just what I love about it. And finding that balance has been a little challenging at times, but it's been fun mostly, and really, and striving and learning from it has been a real
Yes.
treat.
Yes. How old are your children?
I just
Your
have one as a little boy. His name is Scotty, and he's 15 months old. So
Oh, that's
yeah,
such a cute age. Like there's something about that, like 15 to 18-month old. Can you just stay like this? Like, I don't know. There's
yeah.
something about
Oh,
that
it's
age.
so fun. He took his first steps yesterday. So
Oh, congratulations. Were y'all cheering? Did you get it on video?
oh yeah, I put it on my Instagram story and everything like that. We're so proud. We're the proud parents for sure. It's a
That's
blast.
exciting. Exciting. Well, Mason, it's just been nice visiting with you. And I love the fact that you just seem like you're so stable, you're so grounded, and you're so focused, not only on your career, but also your home life. And congratulations on a great album. I'm so happy that you got scheduled for the podcast and it hit at the time with the Burn the Ground album, because it was so enjoyable for me to prep for this interview and listen to each track and again and pick up on things. So everybody, make sure you go to your streaming service and check out Burn the Ground album from Mason Lively. And where else can the listeners find you?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for having me. It's a real treat again to talk to people that love the record and dig in, and I just really appreciate you guys lining this up. Yeah, you can find it Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere you get music nowadays. Go
Mhm.
to masonlively.com for show dates and for more, and all the social media. You'll find me there. Mostly pretty active on Instagram, but everywhere that you can get me, you'll find me.
Well, thank you so much for being on the Texas Toast podcast, and cheers to your new album. Thank you, Mason.
Cheers. Thank you. Appreciate it, you guys.